Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to your lunar insight video for the lunar cycle beginning today with the new moon in Gemini, the 13th of June, and culminating with the new moon in Cancer, which will be an eclipse, a new moon solar eclipse on the 13th of July. So this is a time for all of us of rapid transformation, accelerated frequencies as the big planets change signs, as Mars slows down to go retrograde, and we also have two other planetary stations this month as well with Neptune and Jupiter. So it's another huge month which really initiates us into the eclipse portal of summer. So for you, Sagittarius, today's new moon occurs in your 7th house of relationship. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you, Sagittarius, to decide and intend what you wish to create, what you wish to call forward in your relationships. This is a time for speaking, for writing your intentions about the kind of souls that you would like to connect with. This is a time of renewing your commitment to the relationships and partnerships that you are already in. Mercury, the ruler of this lunation, is going to be traveling through the sign of Cancer in your 8th house. This is the Scorpio house, the deep, dark space of the birth chart. And Mercury here wants depth, wants deep soul connection with other people. It wants to know everything it can about the other. No kind of superficial connection will suffice with Mercury in Cancer in the 8th house. So this could be a time where you're really longing for those connections which nourish your soul, those deep, stimulating conversations. Perhaps you will desire to connect with somebody in a truly authentic way, exposing and expressing all of those parts of yourself that you usually keep hidden or buried. Mercury is going to be squaring Chiron in the 5th house, so perhaps there will be some talk around woundings connected with joy, with pleasure, with sensuality. Perhaps you will need to talk to somebody or connect deeply with your own intuition about the creations that you are wishing to birth into the world at this time. Perhaps there is some stuff around the inner child, an old programming, old fear that needs to come up, that needs to be discussed before you can fully move forward, particularly in the area of relationship. Venus in Leo, your fellow fire sign, is going to be moving into your 9th house as the new moon energies peak. So it's really beautiful to have Venus in another fire sign. It creates a beautiful trine to whatever planets or angles that you have in Sagittarius, bringing kind of an extra boost of charisma, of magnetism, of beauty to your life. And Venus will be moving through that 9th house of expanding knowledge, of cultural connection, of the higher mind. So this is the time where you can really connect with like-minded souls, people who are on the same spiritual pathway as you. This can be a time where you might travel to different locations with friends, with loved ones, with your beloved. This can be a time of expanding your mind, your understanding beyond your old perceptions through your relationships with other people. Venus is going to be squaring Uranus, who is newly installed in your 6th house of health, health, routine, holistics, healing and service. So perhaps you're rewiring how you offer your services to other people. Perhaps you are rewiring your healthcare routines, and Venus can really support you with that. Being the planet of beauty, you know, she may reveal to you what needs to be detoxified, what needs to be purged, before you can fully, you know, come into your own divine feminine power, whether you're a man or a woman. And Venus here can also create a drive for freedom, for moving beyond limitations. There can be a sense of the heart kind of breaking open when Venus and Uranus connect. So just be open to changes in your lifestyle. Perhaps you have to make changes in your lifestyle to accommodate your relationships. Perhaps you have to change your routine in order to truly embrace human connection. Perhaps there needs to be a balance between work life and love, or spirituality and the mundane. So this is a multi-layered energy that can play out on many different levels for you. So on the 17th of June, Neptune is going to station direct. So station retrograde, sorry. So this is going to be happening in your 4th house of your birth chart, which is the roots, the foundation, the womb space. This is the space of the birth chart where we seek security, where we seek stability, and where we hold on to the wounds of our ancestral lineage, our genetic karma. It also has very much to do with the energies of the past and nurturing and mothering. So with Neptune stationing here, you may find yourself having to dissolve some old thought patterns, some old ancestral beliefs around what it means to feel secure, what it means to feel safe. Perhaps there is some healing that your inner child is calling out for. Perhaps there is some dysfunction that has moved down through your family line that is playing out in the now, that needs to be embraced with divine love and compassion. So that's an energy that can feel a little bit foundationless. So you may find yourself becoming a little bit ungrounded during those few days as the energies of Neptune kind of move around the cosmos, because like I said, that is the space of the birth chart where we generally root into our lives. It's a very foundational space. So just be aware that there may be some sense of disconnection from the body, from the physical reality during those times, and be sure to seek out ways to ground and anchor yourself. So on the 21st of June, the Sun is going to join Mercury in your 8th house. So this is the summer solstice here for us in the Northern Hemisphere, and the winter solstice for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere. It's the turn of the year. The light will begin to decrease for us here in the Northern realm at this point in the wheel of the year, and it will begin to increase for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. So this is a time of huge change and transition. You know, we're moving from one half of the year to another, and for you, Sagittarius, at this time of the year, the Sun, like I say, will move into your 8th house. It's going to join Mercury there. So this is the time of the year where you dive into the shadows a little bit. This is the dark space of the birth chart. This is the space where we do a little bit of an underworld journey into the shadows of our psyche. And with the new moon initiating a new frequency in your 7th house at the beginning of the month, this can really be a month for you of diving into and uncovering any layers of self-protection that you may still be holding on to that is preventing intimacy from entering your life. You, Sagittarius, are the freedom seeker alongside Aries and your opposite sign, Gemini. You know, you're one of the signs that really does, you know, seek to live an independent life where you can just do as you choose. So for Sagittarius, sometimes the need for freedom can be one of the things that blocks us from creating intimate relationships. So this could be a time to dive into that. It's also a time of really clearing old fears, really diving into the recesses of our subconscious and seeing what needs to be purged, what needs to be let go of in order for us to be reborn. So Mars will station officially retrograde on the 25th of June. And that's going to be happening in your third house of communication, of connection, Sagittarius. So this could be a time when you really have to liberate yourself from those connections which don't allow you to speak your truth. This can be a time of reclaiming your voice, reclaiming your own individual, unique soul song, your divine expression of self that could come through written, a spoken word. And this can also be a time of liberating yourself from those connections, from those friendships, from those social situations that are really no longer serving your soul. This can also be a time where we have to be aware that words can be used as weapons. So we might find ourselves on the receiving end of other people's snappy behaviour, or we might find ourselves becoming a bit more impulsive, a bit more reckless with our words. So this is a time when conflict can arise through and be expressed through the voice. So it's important to really think before acting, before sending emails, text messages, before posting online. This is the space of the birth chart connected to networking as well. So for those of you that do work online, this can be a time of having to rework those circles, those connections that you're part of. This energy can really make us aware of how our technological connections can have an impact on our physical well-being as well. I mean, many of us are deeply aware of the connection, the energy exchange that happens when two people are or more are gathered in a space together or in, intimate communion. But we need to become increasingly aware of how affected we are by what filters down through our social media, through our online accounts, through the messaging, through the videos. So this could be a time of you having to kind of cut away those energetic influences which are draining you on all levels. This can also be a time of deep mental reprogramming. This house rules over the neural pathways, the nervous system. So there may have to be some belief systems that you shed, that you let go of in order to create greater peace and clarity in your life. So this is going to be a big journey for us all over the coming months, Sagittarius, but for you it's really focused on the mental and throat chakra energies. So on the 28th of June, we're going to close this month, as is the theme this year, with a full moon. And this full moon is going to be in Capricorn, and it's going to be conjunct its ruler, Saturn. Saturn moved into Capricorn at the winter solstice last year, so he's been in his home sign for 6 months already, and this full moon will highlight how well we have been learning the lessons of Saturn since he began this new cycle in our birth chart. So for you at the winter solstice, Saturn moved into your second house of self-value and resources. This is the space of the birth chart where we recognize that the amount of abundance we received is intimately interconnected with how much we value ourselves. So this could be a time where you're having to ensure that you are receiving adequate financial compensation for the time and energy that you are expending. This can be a time where you're having to learn to really love and value and honor yourself and draw boundaries to become super aware of how valuable your time is, how valuable your energy is, how valuable all of those financial resources that you have are, and be sure that you're using them in ways that serve your soul. So this transit is, traditionally associated with kind of a financial squeeze. So some of you may be experiencing that, but Saturn really wants you to get serious about your money, get serious about what you're earning, get serious about what you're spending, because this is the space of the birth chart where he is supporting you in creating tangible manifestations of your dreams. The foundations you lay when Saturn is in your second house support the building of your dreams as he moves round the cycle of your birth chart. So this full moon can really show how far you've come in the past 6 months in learning around these areas, learning to manage your time, your energy, your money, your resources. So allow this moon to bring you clarity. For some of us, it will bring us back down to earth with a little bit of a bump. Sagittarius, you are the freedom lover. After all, you're not so keen on the energies of duty and responsibility that Sagittarius, that Capricorn and Saturn so like us to adhere to. So on the 9th of June, Venus is going to leave Leo. She's going to leave your fellow fire sign, and she's going to head into Virgo, and she is going to be transiting your 10th house. So this is a time where your deep devotion, your deep dedication and commitment to your purpose is rewarded. This is a time where you can be more magnetic, be more appealing to the public, to those in authority. But because Venus is in Virgo, you have to act with devotion and discipline if you are wanting to receive her reward. So that's a really lovely kind of coming up to mid-month transit for you. This is often associated with, creating a new opportunity in your workspace, or, receiving praise for some endeavour that you've been working hard on, and just feeling a little bit more valuable and valued and appreciated for what you're putting out into the world. So Jupiter is going to station direct in your 12th house on the 10th of July, and he has been transiting this part of your birth chart since last autumn, and he's been retrograde here since the springtime. So this is a deep transit of moving through subconscious fears and blockages. Jupiter in Scorpio is illuminating all of our shadows, the truth that really lies beneath the surface. And the 12th house of the birth chart is this area of, the deep subconscious things that we may not necessarily be aware of ourselves lurk in the 12th house. So you may have been drawn to do a lot of internal work, a lot of internal healing, clearing, releasing of psychic baggage during this time. And as Jupiter regains direct motion in mid-July, you can really start to see the rewards for some of this hard work. Sorry, my cat is joining us for this video. Come on, behave, Twinkle. So this can be a time when you start to see the rewards of all of that deep psychological diving that you've been doing. And it can also be a time when visions, insights, dreams come to you that will reveal to you your pathway forward. Really, Jupiter in the 12th house is a deep cleansing of the past 12-year cycle. It's preparing you for Jupiter to move into your own sign later this year. So the more that you can do the past life healing and clearing, the more that you can engage in finding a deep connection to God, to Goddess, to Source, the more prepared you'll be to rebirth when he starts that new phase of his cycle in Sagittarius towards the end of this year. So we're going to finish this month with a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer. And again, this is in your 8th house. Okay, I think we better move the cat. So please excuse my feline friend there. She obviously likes Sagittarius this month. She always tends to make an appearance in one of the videos. So we're going to culminate this month with this new moon solar eclipse in your 8th house. So this is really highlighting those themes that I talked about earlier in the video. This is going to be a taster of what you can expect when the nodes shift signs and the eclipse cycle begins to fall into Cancer in Capricorn later on this year. So this can be a time where a lot of old stuff is shaken to the surface. You know, a lot of our deeply buried stuff hides in the 8th house. So this can be an activation, an awakening, a revelation of what really deeply needs to be cleared within your soul and psyche. And it can also bring up issues around intimacy, around shared resources. It's going to be opposed by Pluto, who is in your 2nd house with Saturn. So it's again that dance of, you know, self-value, self-worth. How much do I deserve to receive? How much do I deserve to be loved? Am I truly ready to open my heart to intimacy? You know, are there any lingering fears or changes that might need to happen? So it's probably one of the most intense houses to have an eclipse in, but it will be a deep cleansing. Cancer is the sign of the great mother of water. So if we can surrender our fears, if we can surrender our need to control and allow her to kind of wash away anything that rises up, we'll be able to flow with these energies a lot more easily. And the card that I picked for you from the Isis Oracle deck here by Alana Fairchild is the Lunar Queen. So this speaks to the ebb and flow of our emotions, of the cycles and rhythms of our lives, and is very much associated with the element of water. You see the big full moon there, the lunar energy which pulls the tides, so has such a powerful effect on our own body, mind and emotions. So this is a time for you to tune into your own cycles, particularly as you've got all of this energy going on in the 12th, 8th, 4th houses of your birth charts, these real kind of deep subconscious watery spaces. So this is a time of you becoming really aware of the times of the month where you feel energized, where you feel ready for action, and the times of the month where you feel you need to turn within and rest. Instead of just pushing forward all the time, Sagittarius, you need to honor the ebb and flow, the rise and fall, the in and outflow of your own personal energies and rhythms. And, you know, for women, that can also be a sign to pay attention to your own cycles and see how they are harmonizing with the lunar cycles too. So, thank you so much for listening to me, Sagittarius. I wish you the most beautiful, transformational June, and I'm sending you so much love.